certificate and presents. The Honorable Professor Mahfud Sholihin, Ph.D, AKCA, CPA, as the lecturer for today's event. The Honorable Ms. Fitri Wayuni, SEMSC, as the Head of International Program of Accounting, Universitas Muhammadiyah Yogyakarta. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu asrofil albiyai wa mursalin wa ala alihi washabihi ajmain amma ba'd. Praise to the presence of that Almighty who still gives his guidance and mercy to all of us so that we can attend this class in a good health. Blessings and greetings let us always devote to our Lord, the Prophet Muhammad, who had brought us from the time of Jahiliyah heading into the era that is full of inayah is today. The topic of today's class is accounting for Waqf institution, which will be delivered by our special speaker, Professor Mahfud Sholihin. Let me introduce myself. My name is Nabila Safitri as Master of Ceremony. Here, I would like to show you the agenda we have planned today. The first agenda is opening. The second agenda is introducing our speaker. The third agenda is lecture session. The fourth agenda is question and answer session. And the next agenda is photo session. And the last agenda is closing. Let us start the first agenda, that is opening, by reciting Basmalah together. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Then the next agenda is introducing our speaker. Professor Mahfud Sholihin is full professor at Department of Accounting, Faculty of Economics and Business at Gadjah Mada University. Professor Mahfud completed his Bachelor of Accounting at Gadjah Mada University in 1998, and also the Master of Accounting from the University of Western Australia in 2003, and 2009, Professor Mahfud completed the doctor program at the University of Bradford, UK. Now let's go to the next agenda, is the lecture session in the subject of Islamic Bank Accounting and Governance with the topic Accounting for Waqf Institution, and will be delivered by Professor Mahfud. For Professor Mahfud, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Mbak Nabila. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Alhamdulillahilladzi arsala rasulahu bil huda wa dinil haqq lidhil ad-din kullihi wa billahi syahida. Allahumma shalli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Okay, thank you, Nabila. Based on the number of attendant or participant here, we have 15. One is me and the other one is Nabila. So we have 13 participants, don't we?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, from the 13 participants, how many from outside Indonesia?
Wait a minute, Prof. I think...
Yes, from the name it looks like Muhammad E.A. Al-Bakari, not from Indonesia. Just guessing.
Yes, Prof. He is from Palestine.
Palestine,
Also,
and then
there is Ranin, Prof.
Rani Nasir El Sayed.
Yes, and also we have our exchange student is Ruth Kunda.
Ruth Kunda.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, good. Okay, first of all, I would like to thank to the committee. It's a great opportunity for me to see you all this afternoon. I expect the topic I deliver will be beneficial for you, or at least give you some kind of insight related to Islamic accounting, or in Indonesia we call it as Sharia accounting, in particular related to Waqf institution. This morning, I think one of my colleagues, Dr. Hidayatul Ihsan, he has delivered a kind of introduction or understanding about Waqf in general, I think, because we have discussed the material. We are going to delivered to you. And then now it's my turn to talk more specific about the accounting standard for Waqf institution, we often call it as Nazir, the managers of a Waqf. Okay, let me share the material. Can I share it? Because the message here I'm disabled.
All right, sir. Wait a minute.
So we have time until 2:30, I think, based on the schedule given to me. 2:30. Okay, I'm the co-host. Let me share. Okay, can you see my slide, Nabila, or other
Yes,
participants?
Prof.
Okay. Okay, so let me talk. Okay, so the topic I'm going to talk is about accounting for Waqf institution. Let's start. So this is a kind of introduction. I'm not sure whether Dr. Hidayat Isan has delivered for this. But first of all, I'd like to introduce, to review again, because some of you may have known some kind of Islamic charity. So in Islam, we have Waqf, we have Zakah, we have Infaq or Sadaqah. There are some differences between them, although there are some similarities, obviously. So the similarity between them, they are often considered as Islamic charity, but there are some differences. We can see from the perspective or aspect of legal, for example, Waqf is a sunnah, not mandatory, but zakah, it is mandatory or wajib, and in fact, and sadaqah, also sunnah. And then from the time perspective, Waqf mean when we give Waqf, it's flexible anytime. Okay, but with zakah, the time is determined. We call it as hawl. There's a hawl. Okay, there's a certain period of time when we should pay zakah, but also the amount of asset or money, the amount is also determined. But with infaq and sadaqah, it's very flexible, anytime, not depend on the amount of the asset or the money we have, etc. And then the third one is related to the beneficiaries. Waqf is flexible. Whoever may receive it, we call it as mawquf alay, okay, the beneficiary. Even non-Muslim, they can get benefit from this one. For public proposed building, for example, okay, so Waqf is very flexible. But with zakah, it is determined only for 8 groups, or we often call it asnaf. Al-asnaf al-thamaniyah. Okay, 8 groups. Innama sadaqat lil fuqara wal masakin wal nasabil, etc. But with infaq and sadaqah, it's also flexible. And then how about the asset itself or the property? For Waqf, the best practice is that the Waqf is managed and then the result of the management or the development is distributed. So the asset itself should be managed, yet not distributed. The distributed one is the benefit. Okay, and it's considered Allah rights, the property, but with the zakah should be distributed immediately when once it received by amil, so it must be distributed immediately, unless for certain condition, but very rare condition. So in general, with the zakat, it should be distributed immediately. Likewise for infaq and sadaqah. So from this perspective, then we understand that there are specific characteristics of waqf, okay, in particular related to this one. Okay. And then also this one. Okay. So the set must be maintained, must be kept by nadir. We call it nadir, okay, the management. In Indonesia context, so that's why at the beginning of the session, I asked you how many participants from outside Indonesia, because I will, in particular, this is very relevant for them to give insight some regulations in Indonesia related to Waqf. The first one, we have law number 41, 2004. It's about Waqf in general. And then we also have government regulation. So government regulation is the follow-up or the detailed implementation of the law. Okay, it's still about Waqf, but in 2018, there is new government regulation. Okay, this is to revise the old one. Here we have 2006 and 2018. So basically, the government regulation number 25, year 2018, is a kind of a revision, okay, of the old one. But on top of that, more detailed implementation is regulated in PMA, is Peraturan Menteri Agama. So regulation Minister of Religious Affairs. So it's very specific how to administer, okay, for application related to cash wakaf. So for cash wakaf management, they have to apply, they have to register to the minister. And then we also have PMA, again, as Peraturan Menteri Agama, number 73, 2013. It's about how, okay, to manage and how to give wakaf. So from giving wakaf and then how to manage them. But later on, we have, on addition of those regulations, we have regulation of BWI, Badan Wakaf Indonesia. So this is Wakaf Board, National Wakaf Board. Okay, regulation number 4, 2010, how to manage, okay, and to develop Wakaf asset. And then this is the newest one, okay, 2020, okay, regulation of Badan Wakaf Indonesia number 1. Again, it's kind of revision the old one. So from this one is revised by the new one. Okay. Guidelines, pedoman guideline, pengelolaan manajemen dan pengembangan development of wakaf property or wakaf asset. Okay, for you who cannot read in Bahasa Indonesia, unfortunately, this has not been translated. I mean the regulation. But with the slide, I write in original because it's kind of law regulation, so we have to revert it as it is. It's not been translated to other language. But the message from the slide is that wakaf is regulated in Indonesia. There are certain regulations we have to adhere, we have to follow. Okay, from the top one is the law. You mean undang-undang, and then government regulation. We have to government regulation, more specific, we have regulation from Minister of Religion Affairs, and then we also have regulations from Badan Waqaf Indonesia, BWI. Badan Waqaf Indonesia is National Waqaf Board. And then we move to types of waqaf. This is what is regulated in Indonesia. I understand there are different views related to waqaf because in Islam, at least, we have 4 types of mazhab or mazahib: Maliki, Hanafi, Hambali, and Syafi'i. But in Indonesia, based on Majlis Ulama Indonesia, Indonesian Ulama Board, we have characteristic what we call as permanent and temporary. Most of people, they would say waqaf is permanent. In other words, majority of people, majority of the imam, they say waqaf is permanent, no temporary waqaf. But here in Indonesia, okay, we recognize there is what we call as temporary waqaf. Likewise, for the right one, we have what we call as cash waqaf and non-cash waqaf. Previously, when we talk about waqaf, usually it's about masjid, right? And then madrasah, okay? And then what we call in Indonesia is makam, so it's kind of burial area, yeah? Okay, makam, yeah. In Indonesia, previously when we talk about waqaf, usually land for masjid, land for madrasah or school, and then maqbarah. But now we have what we call as cash waqaf. Due to the nature of the waqaf asset, which is money, very liquid from accounting perspective, for you who has learned about accounting, in particular auditing, we agree that cash is very liquid asset and it's very easy, okay, to manipulate, etc. So more regulation is related to cash. As I have shown you before, now the waqaf, they have to apply and register themselves. Okay, when we talk about waqaf, and this is also aspects, okay, regulated in accounting standard. So the first one, the first activity, if we can start here, first we receive the donation from Waqf. I believe Dr. Hidayat Tulisan, he has explained requirement for waqaf, what is waqaf, and then how it can be performed, etc. From the perspective of waqaf institution, or I would call it as nadir, first they got or they received donation of waqaf from the waqif. Okay? Donation and then received by the institution, and then the institution waqaf entity or nadir, they manage the waqaf, and then they should develop waqaf, in particular cash waqaf. They have to manage, okay, because the one which is distributed to Mawquf Alai is the result of the management of waqaf, not the money given by the waqif. Okay, the one which is distributed, the distribute of benefit, is not the money, okay, donated by the waqif, but the result of the management of the cash or the development of the cash. So because we talk accounting, so we have to see the transaction and event. So related to the accounting standard, I will discuss this afternoon, for example, when waqaf from waqif is recognized mean written in an account, for example, okay. Okay, and then we move to the next slide. This is a kind of argument. When I was the chair of Islamic Accounting Standard Board, okay, I stepped down from the chair in 2022 because I was elected as the council member of Indonesian Institute of Chartered Accountant. So the accounting standard for Waqf was developed when I was the chair of the accounting standard, Islamic accounting or Sharia accounting standard board. Based on the literature we have seen, Waqf actually has played an important role in the various countries. We observe in Malaysia, Singapore, Bangladesh, Egypt, and I believe in other countries. But the references I could find are these four. However, while the Waqf has shown important roles, there are many criticisms, okay, directed to the management of the institution of Waqf. The main criticism in particular is related to accountability. Okay, people seen or observe Waqf institutions, they have a lack of accountability. Hence, it's necessary to improve the accountability of Waqf institution. Well, some people say accountability and transparency. And then Masruhi and Safi 2013 recommend the issuing Waqf accounting standard, okay, to improve the accountability and transparency. So as you understood, one of the role of accounting is to help, okay, the management to improve the accountability and the transparency. Okay. Therefore, two institutions, one is Islamic Accounting Standard Board, or the Institute of the Chartered Accountant, or in Indonesia we call as Dewan Standar Akuntansi Syariah Ikatan Akuntan Indonesia, issued accounting standard number 112, accounting for Waqf, in 2018, effective since 2021. Another accounting standard setter, namely Accounting Auditing Organization for Islamic Financial Institution, they approve the accounting standard for Waqf institution, FAS 37, Financial Accounting Standard number 37, on the 30th of November 2000, and effective from the 1st January 2022. So, as far as I'm aware, until now, there are two accounting standards related to Waqf institution. And in this case, the Islamic Accounting Standard Board, okay, leads the issuance of accounting standard. We issued it in 2018, but the OIF in 2020. However, my main focus today is on standard number 100, okay, 12, issued by Dewan Standar Akuntansi Syariah in Indonesia. If you like, you can also download this standard from AOIF's website. This morning I have checked and it's still available there. So again, our focus will be on this one. Okay, again, it's this slide give understanding or knowledge to you in particular from outside Indonesia, or even in Indonesia. Some of you may have not understood this. In Indonesia, at the moment, we have 4 pillars, okay, of accounting standard. Initially, we have 3, but starting 2022, we have what we call as pillar number 1. S stand for standard, A is akuntansi, K is keuangan. This one is I, international. So international accounting standard rectified December 2022. So basically, this one is translation word by word of IFRS, International Financial Reporting Standard. Okay, previously we just convert, we develop our own standard, but in 2022, December, we have completed and rectified the official translation word by word of International Financial Reporting Standard. The second pillar we call as SAK without I. Okay, I is international. This one is Standard Akuntansi Keuangan Accounting Standard, Financial Accounting Standard developed by Board of Accounting Standard. The latest one, we have a compilation of standard effective 1st January 2022. The third pillar, we have what we call as SAK EP or ETAP. Okay. EP stands for entitas privat, private entity without significant accountability. For example, companies not listed in the Indonesia Stock Exchange, so they fall in this category. ETAP means entitas tanpa akuntabilitas publik, entities without public accountability. And then we also have pillar 4, SEK Standar Akuntansi Keuangan. IMKM is entitas mikro, kecil, menengah, small, medium, micro, small, and medium enterprises. It's effective 2018. So at the moment in Indonesia, we have 4 different accounting standards. On top of these 4, we have PSAK, stand for Pernyataan Standar Akuntansi Keuangan. Okay, Financial Accounting Standard, or ISAK is Interpretasi Standar Akuntansi Keuangan Syariah. So basically, Islamic accounting or Sharia accounting in Indonesia is the complement of what we call as conventional accounting standard. Okay, so the nature of the relationship between Islamic Sharia accounting and conventional accounting is complementary. Related to accounting for Waqf institution, we have, okay, PSAK 112, but many transactions are not directly regulated in the standard. In this case, we refer to conventional accounting with the note here, adjusted to characteristics of Waqf reporting entity. So Waqf reporting entity or Waqf institution is Islamic or Sharia entity. For example, they should not deal with interest, bank interest, for example. But with a fixed asset, for example, if a Waqf or somebody give donation as a Waqf, a building, for example, with a building, for example, there is a depreciation. So in Waqf, we also use depreciation concept. Land, for example, the way we recognize the land also use conventional accounting standard. Intangible asset in Indonesia, intangible asset is regulated in PSAK number 19. So when somebody donate a Waqf, give a Waqf in the form of intangible asset, for example, intellectual property right, as I did, for example, we develop accounting computer web-based computer accounting application, then we donate that as a Waqf, so we follow PSAK number 19. Likewise, when people donate sukuk, for example, so we recognize sukuk using PSAK 110. Financial asset, for example, it's Indonesia now is very common. People give Waqf in the form of stock. So we refer to PSAK number 71. So this is the nature of the relationship in Indonesia. Okay, the relationship between conventional accounting and Islamic or Sharia accounting. So the relationship again is complementary. As long as the conventional still relevant, okay, with Islamic characteristic. For example, with financial asset number 71, we do not recognize interest, for example. So we adjust using our own standard. So this is a kind of introduction. PSAK number 100, yeah? 12 compared to the law. As I informed you before, we have law number 41, okay, year 2004. In the law, they recognize the existence of personal, okay, Waqf. But here, related to Nazir, we don't recognize personal Nazir, institution or organization. With regard to the type of Waqf, law number 41, 2004, they regulate permanent Waqf and temporary Waqf, but in our accounting standard, for the temporary one, we only regulate or deal with cash Waqf. What we mean by temporary, the Waqif, people who has donated, they can take back the cash in this case, for example. It can be a building, for example. Again, this is may lead to different opinion. Okay, permanent and temporary Waqf. Some people only believe Waqf it should be permanent, no temporary Waqf. But here in Indonesia, based on Hanafi, Imam Hanafi, we recognize there is a kind of cash Waqf and temporary Waqf. Okay, so we move more specifically to PSAK number 112. Okay. The scope of our accounting standard is related to recognition, measurement, presentation, and disclosure. So it's very common. Nearly our accounting standard, they contain these four aspects. So the first point is about recognition. The question is when Waqf institution should recognize a certain asset as Waqf. In our standard paragraph, okay, par stand for paragraph 20 to 24, the summary is this one. Waqf institution recognizes the receipt of asset from Waqf. Waqf is the people who donate, okay, the asset, in this case Waqf. When it, I mean the institution, has legal and physical, I mean economic benefit control over the asset. For example, if a person or Waqf, they say, I donate this building to certain Waqf institution, but then the Waqf institution, they do not have control of the building, then it's not considered as Waqf asset. And then the next question, when is usually legal and physical control exists? In Indonesia, usually when the deed of pledge of Waqf, or in Indonesia, akta ikrar Waqf. Because once we donate, okay, or Waqf, then we have to declare and then we receive kind of certificate. Okay, I had experience with this one. So when we donate a certain land, as Waqf, then we declare that it's a Waqf, and then after that, we got a certificate. So from legal perspective, because we have got a certificate, so from legal perspective, it's okay, fulfill the first condition. And then from physical, the donated asset is controlled by the Waqf institution. So legal and physical economic benefit. Still related to recognition, wills. Okay, some people, for example, they said, if I pass away, I will donate 1/3 of my asset as Waqf. A person may say that. But because the Waqf institution, they have no control of the asset, both legally and economically, so this is not recognized as asset of Waqf, or Waqf asset. Wills or what is promise, right? And this is janji. Promise is not considered as the deed of ikrar, yeah, ikrar Waqf, pledge of Waqf. And then interestingly, it has been longly discussed. Okay, we have talked about certain period of time of Waqf or temporary Waqf. Our accounting standards say paragraph 29 until 31, when a person donates the cash, for example, as Waqf, but this is a temporary Waqf. For example, I have money 10 million or 10 billion, and then I donate this Waqf temporary to certain institution, then the institution, they have to recognize this as liability. It's not an asset, it's liability. Yeah, although they got money, but at the end, they have to return the money. So because the Waqf institution, they have a responsibility to return the money, then it's considered as liability. And then another important point here, the result of management and development of Waqf asset recognized as Waqf receive. So once a Waqf institution, they got Waqf, okay, for example, land, and then they rent the land to other people, and then they got money. So the money from renting the land is considered as another Waqf, unless it distributed to Mawquf alaih. However, when a Waqf institution, they perform remeasurement or revaluation, for example, and there is a difference between recognition of value of an asset and the fair value or the market price of an asset, is not considered as management and development of Waqf. Likewise, the difference in the disposal of Waqf asset, if there is a difference between the book value and the market value, so the difference between them is not considered as the result of management and development of Waqf asset. Okay, so I still have 27 minutes, but I will leave 5 to 10 minutes for discussion. This is an illustration. Dear participant, are you still with me? So if we have kind of transaction like this, can you try how you should make a journal entry, how you should record in your accounting system? So if this is an offline cost, then I will ask you to a kind of journal entry. So Nazir again is Waqf institution. ABC receive permanent Waqf in the form of cash, 100 millions, for example, and then permanent Waqf in the form of car, 500 millions, and also gold, 10 grams, each gram is 1,000. Then how should we record this? So this is a kind of illustration how we implement the recognition aspect for our certain asset. Okay, anybody try this one to think about this? Okay, nobody respond, then I give the answer. You'll see this one. So cash, now there are Waqf institution receive cash, 100 million, D stand for debit. Okay, and then car, and then gold, 10 gram, each gram, million. And the credit side, receive of Waqf. Oh, commonly in our common language is kind of revenue, receive of Waqf. But we don't use revenue because it may be misinterpreted by tax office. So we write it as a receipt of Waqf. So you just calculate this one. Is it correct? The amount? Oh no, it should be 6. Yeah. Okay, I apologize for this one. Okay, it should be share. Yeah. So this is the journal entry for the transaction when a Nazir, a Waqf institution, okay, receive Waqf. We combine it. The amount is combined here. If you want to make a journal entry one by one, then cash. The debit side is cash, 100 million, and then credit is receipt of Waqf. For the second one is car, okay, and then the credit side is receipt of Waqf. So if you make a so car and then Waqf, what's the number 100. So for this one is cash, right? Okay, here is car or vehicle, depend on your chart of account, and then receipt of Waqf 500. Likewise for this one, if you make one by one journal entry, gold debit side, and then credit side is receive of Waqf, and the amount is 10. Okay. So in this case, we combine all of this, the amount is 610. So illustration number 2. Be careful, this one is promise. Okay. Our accounting standard says wills and what or promise to donate as Waqf is not recognized as Waqf activity. So although there is a promise from Mr. X for Nadir ABC, okay, he will donate thousand millions or 1 billion. But since ABC, they don't have control from legal perspective and economic or physical perspective, so they don't make a journal entry. They don't recognize it. Remember, we are still talking about asset recognition. So neither ABC, they do not recognize as Waqf. But with this one, okay, Mr. X donate as a Waqf to Nadir B computer software. Computer software means intangible asset. As I informed you before, we follow other accounting standard. So we make a journal entry intangible asset, which is computer software at the debit side. And then again, we recognize as receipt of Waqf, the amount is equal to this one. This one, no journal entry. Why? Because it's a promise. The Waqf institution, they have not get control over the asset. Okay, now there's fee. Basically, people said fee is also right. In the hadith of Ibn Umar, it said, khudh bil ma'ruf. Khudh bil ma'ruf. Now their Waqf institution, they have right over the service of making asset Waqf. Okay. In Indonesia, the law said maximum is 10%. 10% is not from the receipt of the Waqf, but 10% from the results of the management and development of asset. This is different with Amil in Zakah case. In Zakah, Amil, when they receive Zakah from Muzaki, immediately they have right 12.5%, right? 1/8. Because Amil is one of Al-Asnaf al-Thamaniyah. 10% maximum, that's regulated by the law, number 14 to 2004. But here, the accounting standard, we only regulate what is the basis to take the fees. Okay. Here we use the term realized management into a net result. Okay. Cash or cash equivalent. For example, Waqf institution or another, they manage cash Waqf and then they got profit sharing. Okay. 100. So the right of the Waqf institution is only 10% of 100. So it's 10. But it must be cash and or cash equivalent, not in the form of receivable. If still a receivable, it cannot be used as the basis, okay, to calculate the nadir's fee. This is paragraph 36, 37. And then the next paragraph is talking about the distribution of Waqf benefit. Remember, Waqf institution or Waqf entity or Nadir, they receive Waqf asset, they have to maintain, they have to manage, they have to develop, okay, and then they will get the result. So the result is distributed. And then the question from accounting perspective, when is the distribution of Waqf is recognized? Okay. The standard said distribution of Waqf benefit when received, okay, by Mawquf Alayh. Mawquf Alayh is beneficiary, people or group of people who get benefit from Waqf. What is received by Mawquf Alayh can be in terms of cash or cash equivalent. Okay, if Nadir or Waqf institution, they give money or other assets. Other assets can be in the form of car, furniture, building, etc. Or other economic benefits attached to the Waqf asset. In this case, is depreciation or amortization. So from accounting perspective, basically depreciation is actually the use of economic benefit of Waqf asset. So in this standard, we also apply the concept of depreciation. Let's see the illustration here. We have the illustration, Nadir ABC. Okay. Deposit is cash Waqf at Bank Syariah. Okay. So Nadir, they got cash Waqf and then they deposit. Okay. So this is the journal entry. Nadir received profit sharing from the deposit 1 million IDR. So the journal entry, cash debit, demand, and then result of management and development profit sharing. The law said the maximum right of Nadir is 10%. So the journal entry Nadir's fee or reward or whatever the name of your account, and then cash. Credit. Why the cash is credit? Because it's taken from the Waqf institution and now become the right of Nadir, not the Waqf institution. Illustration 4. So it's about the distribution. Nadir ABC is cash Waqf for small, micro, small, medium enterprises, 50 million. And then also there is a transaction, Nadir distribute 25 million for MSC through regional community. Okay, plan to distribute in the following months. Look at the difference here. This one is directly to the Mawquf Alayh or recipient or beneficiaries. Nadir distributed directly, okay, directly to SME, but here through regional MS community, and then the distribution is planned the following month, next month. So say for example, now is 25th of July, Waqf institution gave the money to regional MSME community, but the community will deliver the cash to Mawquf Alayh or medium small enterprises the following month in August. So there is a different in the way we recognize or we make a journal entry. And then in the following month, okay, development fund received by MSC. So this is the entry. Waqf distribution, economic entity. Yeah, remember the use of Waqf can be economic, social, etc. It's also regulated in our law. And then cash. But for the second one, you see here, it's not considered Waqf distribution, but receivable. Receivable to who? To the community. Okay. Because the Waqf institution, they have given the money to the community, but the community will distribute next month. So when the Waqf institution gives the money to the community, it's not considered Waqf distribution, different with this one, but here is receivable. But in the following months, when the money is received by MSME, then it's considered as distribution. Waqf distribution, and the receivable here is matching to here, debit, and here is credit. So the receivable is 0. So this is the standard related to distribution. Again, an important point here is whether the Waqf institution distribute the asset directly or via a third party, and the third party not directly distribute. If the cash, if the Waqf institution directly distribute, and then the beneficiary is received by Mawquf Ali, then it's considered as Waqf distribution. But when the cash in this case is not received by MSE, so it's not Waqf distribution, but it is distribution receivable. Okay, receivable. Okay, 5 minutes more. Thank you for the reminder. And then the measurement. First time measurement or initial measurement for cash nominal values, and then for non-cash fair value. But subsequent measurement, gold is wherever other asset is relevant to other PSAK. This is an example. Reporting day, the gold price per gram is 1,100,000. When received, donated as Waqf, the price is 1 million. So there is a difference of 10. So this one times 10 grams, it goes to 1 million. Gold and effect of remeasurement. We do not consider it as a result of management and development, but effect of measurement. Likewise, for the depreciation expenses, why we put note here? Because this one is rented vehicle. So Waqf institution, they receive a Waqf in the form of vehicle, and then the vehicle is rented. And there is a depreciation for the vehicle. So we recognize depreciation expense here. Different with this one, building. Okay, used for social activity, depreciation expenses, and then accumulated depreciation. Same. What make a difference? The note here. Management development expenses because it's rented, but here because it's used, we just put the note here, social activity. It is just repeating the previous one. Temporal Waqf is recognized as liability, depreciation as liability. This is an example. Nigeria BC is a Waqf of right to use a land over 30 years, and it was 300 million, and then also temporary cash Waqf 10 months. Why we put 10 months? Just to differentiate between long term and short term. So less than a year, it's short term. More than 1 year, long term. It's also long term. So this is the journal entry. Okay. And then disclosure. So this is the final section of the content of the scope of the standard. Waqf institution, they have to disclose related to the accounting policies, and then explanation about the Nadir itself, who they are, how big are they, and then significant Waqf, who possibly there are 100 Waqf, but okay, 95% of the Waqf come from one Waqf, so it must be explained, disclosed, and also strategy for asset management, distribution, etc. And then Nadir fees. Although it's the right of the Nadir to get the fees, but they have to disclose what is the amount they receive from Waqf management. And then they also have to disclose the temporary Waqf and then cash Waqf. Istibdal mean kalimati badal istabdilu, selling certain Waqf asset to get more productive. Say, for example, I have a building in the middle of the yard, nobody there, and I sell it, and then I buy another land which is more productive, for example. It's allowable based on fiqh perspective. And then Waqf institution, they have to provide 5 reports. The first one is statement of financial position, and then this is unique to Waqf institution, detailed Waqf asset. So they have to distinguish between the original asset, okay, come from Waqf, and also from the development of Waqf. They also have to provide statement activities, or we often call as profit loss, in business entities, and cash flow, and notes to financial statement. This is an example, as usual, asset, right, and then we make them 2 group, okay, and also liability. We use the term net asset here, okay, not stock. This is unique detail of Waqf asset. So this is from the Waqf, okay, and then this one is from the development, pengelolaan dan pengembangan, management and development. This is very unique. Okay, and then this one is statement of activities in a business entity, profit entities we call as profit loss. So the receipt of Waqf, okay, and then also remeasurement, pengumpulan orang, and then management, and then distribution to Mawquf alaih, and then the increase or decrease of net asset, etc. Likewise, Waqf institution, they have to provide cash flow statement or statement of cash flow. We make them into 3 groups: operational, investment, and also pendanaan. Final slide, as I informed you before, here we in Gajah Mada, a group of researchers, we develop a kind of computer application, we call it Samawi. Samawi is sistem akuntansi dan manajemen Waqf Indonesia. Okay, we have donated as a Waqf to PWI. So it's helped Waqf institution to easily provide financial statement. So it's free, but you have to register to Badan Waqf Indonesia. Okay, I think that's all due to the time limitation, and I return the time to Nabila. Okay, time is yours. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Prof. Now let's the next session is question and answer session. For the participant who has a question, you can raise your hand. All right, sir. Maybe all of them already clear about your
Okay, it looks
explanation, sir.
they are brilliant, eh? They understood. Okay, that's great. Okay,
Alright, sir. We can continue to the next session, sir.
okay.
Thank you to Professor Mahfud for the attractive material. Hopefully, it can help the audience to have a better understanding of accounting for a Waqf institution. We are turning to the last agenda, which is closing. As the master of ceremony, I do apologize for any mistakes during this event. Finally, I say thank you. Before leaving this event, kindly please everyone turning on your camera because you want to take a picture.
Okay, thank you. Oh, we'll take the picture.
Yes, sir. All right. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Once more. 1, 2, 3. Once again. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you for joining this class and see you in the next class. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, thank you, Nabila, and all participants. I'm leaving, right?
Alright.
Thank you, ya.
Alright.
Assalamualaikum
See you.
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you, Prof.